Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. Today you can see we are back in my studio. I'm not going to promise you that every video here on out will be back in the studio, but I did get some studio time today to record. So that's what we decided to do because I love being in my studio and in my setting. It just feels so much better when creating content and really motivates me a little more. So we're back in the studio today. And what I want to talk about is Survivor Series. We know that it's coming up and it's coming pretty damn quick. So, I want to talk about where we stand with the 5-on-5 matches. Today, we are going to dissect the men's 5-on-5 matches, who we have so far, which none of these people are confirmed, but you can definitely tell this is where it's going, and who we think is going to be added. So, jump into it. All right, you guys, so let's start. So we know that in the beginning, the plan was for the Vision, including Seth Rollins, to be in the 5-on-5 match. That kind of pivoted a little bit when Seth got hurt. They kind of had to regroup. So I want to talk about where we stand with the 5-on-5 matches, who I think is going to be added to these matches, and what the ultimate match card will look like going into Survivor Series. So, we know on side one that there's definitely going to be Braun squared. We know we're going to get Braun and Bronson on one side for sure. They have been in pretty much every storyline there is to be on Raw lately, and they're definitely going to be in this match. That did not change at all from Seth Rollins' injury. But the question is, who is going to join them? There's 3 spots available on that side. And so there's 3 people that we could plug in there. And really, to be honest with you guys, these guys don't have a lot of friends. They don't have a lot of people willing to work with them and jumping at the opportunity to be teamed up with this powerhouse duo. So we saw last night on Raw that Logan Paul got in the mix. Now, to be honest with you, when he came out to help CM Punk, well, when he came back, I should say, because he ran out of the ring first. But when he came back to help CM Punk, I was a little shocked. I was like, wait a second. Like, did Logan Paul just turn face? What is this? Because if there's one thing that I know, it's that a face does not fit Logan Paul. Like, he is not a face. I don't think I could ever see that man as a face. It would have to take a lot of creativity. But then we saw at the end of the night that he knocked CM Punk out, handed Paul Heyman the brass knuckles, and essentially I feel like this means he's joined the Vision. He's joined the Vision side, which honestly, I can't blame him. Like, look, I love Punk and I love Jay, but the Braun Squared are beating up everybody. They're beating up Punk and Jay week after week after week. And I'd probably have to side with them too, so I didn't get my ass kicked every week. Let's be honest. So I feel like on side one, we definitely added Logan Paul last night. So now we have Braun, Bronson, and Logan. The question is, who are the other 2 spots going to go to? And I feel like it's inevitable that Brock Lesnar is going to be added to that side. Paul Heyman literally talks about him anytime he opens his mouth. That's his guy. We know that Brock Lesnar is on the promos for WrestleMania. And so there's going to be some build there with some guys for WrestleMania. So I definitely feel that he is going to take part in this match, and he's not going to be on the good side. So he's definitely going to be on Braun and Bronson's side, join a part of the Vision. What I am kind of interested to see, honestly, is how the Vision is framed after this match, because you have Brock reuniting with Paul Heyman, and they were, a duo for a very long time and a strong duo at that. And so when all this is said and done and this group disintegrates and goes back to what they're doing basically, is Brock going to stay with Braun and Bronson and Paul? Is Brock and Paul going to go on their own and Braun and Bronson? I don't know how that's going to shape out, how that's going to be, but I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic after Survivor Series and this match. So we have our 4 out of 5 spots. There's 1 spot left, and to be honest with you guys, I feel like this one is kind of the most up in the air. Because again, they don't have a lot of friends. They don't have a lot of people willing to work with them, jumping at the heels to like take that opportunity. The one person that I could see is a name that's been in the mix for a while. He's been off TV for a while, and we've been waiting to see how they're gonna bring him back, and that's Austin Theory. I feel like his heel persona fits that group, and that dynamic. However, I kind of wanted Austin Theory to come back as a face. I kind of wanted to see him, um, as a face with the fans and see what he could do. So I don't know as if I love that idea, but I feel like that is a huge possibility. And then that's really the only other possibility that I have, you guys, because I just feel at this point in time, like, there's not a long list of guys willing to work with them. One person I could see possibly is Drew McIntyre. Just for the simple fact that he does have history with Logan. Logan could recruit him. He did just take another big loss against Cody, and so I could definitely see Logan maybe recruiting him, and then Drew McIntyre switching over to eventually challenge for the title on Raw. But I think those are our two best options at this point to join this side of the group. Either way, this side is a pretty stacked side. I mean, it was stacked when it's just Braun and Bronson. I have no doubt that Braun and Bronson could probably go against all of these guys and hold their own. They are freaking killing it. I would have loved, and I think this is kind of where they were going with them before Seth got hurt. I would have loved to see them mix up in the tag team a little bit. Before I feel like Braun is now kind of getting that solo treatment. He's like going to be the solo star, which he should be. He's very good. But I would have loved to see them a little more in the tag team movement as well. I think they would have become tag champions, and I think the Vision would have held both of those championships if Seth hadn't got hurt. But either way, I'm interested to see how this team works together because we know Braun and Bronson doesn't take orders from anybody, but neither does Brock and Logan. Like, Brock Lesnar's not taking orders from anybody, and neither is Logan Paul because Logan Paul, although he says he's humble, thinks he's the best in the world. So I think this dynamic's going to be very interesting going into Survivor Series, seeing how they work together. I think there's going to be a lot of holes in the cracks, and I think that could hurt them. But let's move on to side two. So, side two, we definitely know Punk's gonna be there. He holds the championship. He's been beefing with Braun Squared for a while now, been beefing with Seth for a while now. So, Punk is definitely the leader of that pack. He's going to be there. Now, I was not sure on Jay. I wasn't sure where his alliance led. He's been shaky lately. He's been switching it up a bit lately. But I do feel like after last night and teaming with Punk, I do feel like he's going to be on this side. I think it's going to be CM Uso on this side. And the question is, who else is joining them? I feel like it's inevitable, again, just like Brock, that the tribal chief comes back. We know that Roman is huge in big moments like this. He's going to defend Jay, even though he told them that he was not very happy with them after their last match. You know he's going to defend his boys. That's what he always does. Plus, he has some history with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, and of course the Bronze. So he makes the most sense to fall into this match card. Because he's got a lot of history with all of these guys, honestly. And he is also going to be featured in the WrestleMania promo. So, again, we got to start working those storylines because I know that WrestleMania is in April and that seems so far away, but it's really not. They start building for WrestleMania literally probably January 1st. So, I feel like this Survivor Series is kind of like the pre build for all of that. So I definitely think Roman is going to be added to the match card. The next two guys are pretty obvious, but the questions lie on if they will actually do it, and that is Jimmy Uso and LA Knight. We have seen them in this mix a lot. LA Knight and Jimmy have teamed together. They have taken on Braun and Bronson, and so they make the most sense for this side and to round out this entire team. But we've also seen both LA Knight and Jimmy have issues with Jay. Jay was moving very, very odd for a while, and I'm not so sure he's still not moving odd, but we'll see. But LA Knight and Jimmy were not a fan of that. LA Knight especially. He was not a fan of how Jay was moving. They went back and forth, had major beef. Took cheap shots at each other, and then Jay and Jimmy were beefing for a while. They were screaming at each other, yelling at each other. They made up. We'll see, to be determined, on Saturday Night Main Event. And so ultimately, I think that those two will round out this team. But again, just like side one, it creates an interesting dynamic to where can these guys get along? These guys have history, they have beef. Is their history going to affect them, or are they going to work together on a common ground to want to beat the hell out of the other side because that other side's been terrorizing everybody? Either way, I honestly think we're going to get a very good match out of this. I think whoever they plug in, it's going to be really, really good. They have really worked on creating storylines between all of these guys and not just the two sides. Typically, you see the storylines are A and B going against each other, but these guys are all intertwined in different dynamics, and I think that makes this really, really interesting. So I'm excited to see how it plays out and who gets added, to see if I'm right or to see if there's any surprises. We will talk about the women later on in this week because that one's going to be an interesting one as well. But as always, thank you so much for watching and supporting my content. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, follow me on all socials, you guys, and I'll see you guys next video.